Insights with Terri Ep.169 a weekly look through the eyes of predictive astrologer Terri Ep.169. Here's Terri.
Hi everyone, this is Terri, and you're listening to Insights with Terri Ep.169. We are going to discuss the week of May the 19th through the 26th, 2024. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate your time. It's such a valuable commodity. The older I get, the faster it goes. So I really appreciate you taking that time that is so valuable and sharing your time with me. We have I'm conflicted this week, and I'll try to organize it. It's just so much coming, flying around and coming at myself, everybody. I also take into consideration kind of the theme that when people come for readings through the week, at the end of the week and the beginning of the next, I'll sit with it and try to find a common theme. And it seems that there's always, most often, a pattern. And if I can take some time and review it mentally, I recognize that a lot of the clients that come through that particular week, or the conversation that I've had while booking the appointment, can have a theme. And as a collective consciousness, it seems that maybe we all get on the same page-ish, whether we know it or not, and work through conceptually a lot of the same problems, even though they arrive in different packages and different presentation. When you get down to the bottom of it, oftentimes it's very similar. So that intrigues me again, because collective consciousness, I'm reminded by the universe how important it is, how effective it is, and it's not sorted out for us. If we all get on a negative page, then we're all going to experience the negative page. And if we're all on a certain mind journey, it seems that we all kind of go down that same road. A little bit like Flemings, I guess. We all go off the cliff at the same time. Bearing that in mind and looking at where the planets are, those solar flares in retrospect, I didn't see anything in the sky, and I've seen the aurora borealis before. It's gorgeous. But I didn't personally see anything. And then I guess with a poll, they found about 82% of the people didn't see anything. You had to see it through the lens of your camera on your phone or a camera. Wasn't aware of that till after. I also understand that if you had the eclipse sunglasses and you looked at the sky, at the sun during the day, you could see it as well with those sunglasses. I didn't know that either at the correct time. But where the planets are now, and with those solar flares, what I'm noticing, both with the animals and with humans, is there's a lot of change, a lot of transition, and a lot of feeling overwhelmed. Now, I'm going to tell you what the planets are doing, but first I'm going to get into the feeling of it, with your permission. Where to start? There's just so much coming in at one time, which is natural with our sun sign changing to Gemini from Taurus. Gemini being the thinker, think, and it's also going to be changing in Venus. But I'm going to get back to that. So this feeling of overwhelming could be so many changes of the planets that are happening right now. Could be the accumulation of some of the magnetic field, the frequency from so many solar flares and that solar storm. So the many people that came this week felt they just couldn't cope anymore. The one last straw that broke the camel's back is something that they're feeling. I can't do this anymore. And it just takes a little event to, like, one straw broke the camel's back. The camel was loaded right down with bricks and salt and spices, and then one piece of straw was, as the fable goes, the camel went down. And that's how people are feeling. One more thing and I'll go down. So bearing that in mind, I'm also watching the animals, and I'm seeing the same thing in them. Now, what have animals got to worry about? They have a lot to worry about. They get involved in life too. And I love training my dogs. I make it fun. It's fun for them, it's fun for me. We have toys. We have food. I've even gotten to the place where I time each training session. So I have my old phone that's not a phone anymore, it's more of a timer. And I time. I have 15 dogs. I like to train them all individually if I can, every day. It's not that much time invested. I enjoy it. Everybody has a hobby. The dog's hobby is me, and they're my hobby. So what I noticed this week, and my dogs just love it. As soon as I say, I can't even say the word, or they'll all be up, that we're going to do it, because they know the toys are busted out, which they don't have access to all the time, only when we're training. I make it a play session, but sneakily, as we're playing, we're also learning and growing. So we're cultivating self-discipline and respect of space. Sometimes I'll do multiple dogs so they respect each other and don't steal each other's toy. If I throw one toy, I say one dog's name. If I throw two, I'll throw it to each one individually. I may just say one dog's name and only one dog can get the ball. They all get a chance at the ball, but they have to wait their turn. So it's really practice in self-discipline and respect of space of each other, and not stealing the toy from each other, and at certain times enjoying each other, maybe in a game of tug with me involved. So as you can see, training is playing. But they didn't want to. There were 2 nights this week that the first time it all went badly. I thought, what is up with this? Really, there wasn't the engagement. They weren't really invested in getting the ball. 10 minutes, which is never enough for them. Never. The timer goes off, and they're just getting wound. They wanted to quit before the timer went off. So at first I put it down to the heat. Maybe they're just warm. They're not used to the weather change, or, it might be the mood. Then, when it happened again, didn't happen the next day, but it happened the day after, then I started to see a pattern. They just weren't engaged. So I migrated it to just a couple of ball catches, and then brought them all out at one time. Well, that was, and I do that. I do that a few times a week, where we all play at one time. But what I found this week, is that it was very chaotic. A couple of my very, very high energy dogs had a very difficult time focusing. They wanted to, instead of chasing the ball, they wanted to hunt mice. They wanted to just run mindlessly. They were very rough with their play, extremely rough, banging into each other. So there was a level of aggression there, maybe a little anger or aggression, maybe fear, because sometimes fear can manifest in aggression, that isn't normally there. So I had to be very careful about letting them all run together at periods this week. So I'm in a conundrum, watching them and what they're experiencing. I don't know what next week is going to bring. Maybe a little bit more settled down. Maybe I have to change my patterns a little bit. I've thought of a couple more games that I can teach them to freshen it up and get them to really stretch out and run and get this energy off. But that same energy is translated from people to dogs, and from dogs to people, but where's it coming from? All around us. So the animals are not immune to it either. I lost quite a few of my fowl this week as well. Raccoons got in and killed my very young pet turkey. I have 5 turkeys, but Turkey Lurkey was hatched by a chicken and thought he was a chicken, or she, I'm not sure what Turkey Lurkey was, but just hung around thinking she was a person. And that raccoon killed my Turkey Lurkey this week, and I feel a hole. So there's a little sadness and a little grief in there, the loss of a soul. The loss of that Turkey Lurkey was here, and now Turkey Lurkey isn't. So where is Turkey Lurkey? Where's the essence of Turkey Lurkey? Where has his energy gone? So it engages that type of thinking as well. And the next night, that I would imagine the same raccoon came back and killed one of the hens, the turkey hens that I had setting on her babies, and killed all the babies. Not happy at all. And again, the experience of loss, because that was a turkey that shared our farm, and up close and personal, these turkeys are here all the time. I just look out the window and they're right there all the time doing turkey things. So then that gets me thinking about the animal kingdom and how difficult it is for animals and how difficult it is for us with life and death and birth. And all the little babies that are hatching right now. 2 starlings were killed that the parents worked terribly hard to feed for a month now. And they were killed right off the bat. They got out and bang, they were dead right away. And it's just a lot to process. And I think, and it's not, I'm not depressed, but there's a lot of heaviness. And there's goodness in between as well. But then when I pulled the cards, there's heaviness there. So I'm going to try to lighten the heaviness up as much as I can for us, for the dogs, for the animals. But the truth and the facts are the facts. And greening it up and trying to make it pretty or gaslighting isn't going to make it. I think we need to hit this head on and be aware of it and embrace it as well as we can. Try to understand what the lesson is. Make it a benefit, and then move forward. So the sun sign right now is in Taurus. Taurus, the bull, is, determined, just get out of my way, I'm going to get it done. On the 21st of this week, it's going to be moving to Gemini. And as I said, Gemini is the thinker. So it's not unusual during a transition of this nature to overthink, to have our minds run away with us, to try to find what makes the universe tick. Try to understand. It's think, think, think. Now, it's a great time if you have interesting friends that you can talk on different subjects and different approaches to certain maybe projects or conundrums. That's a great energy for that. So don't be afraid to use it. It will be a challenge if you have surrounded yourself with boring friends that repeat the same problems, talk about the same issues, and go in circles chasing their tail. It will be less, there'll be less ability to show patience and not to show frustration. So good luck with that. And if you get the answer to that, please let me know and help me with it. And then Mercury, the planet of the mind, that's still in Taurus. That's going to stay in that for a while. So we still have the opportunity of grabbing onto something and finishing it to the end and not being deterred until we want to be. Venus, as I said, the planet of love, beauty, and attraction, is as well in Taurus. There's still a lot of bull energy, that determined energy. But on the 25th, that's changing to Gemini, the thinker as well. So in Venus, the attraction will be after the 25th, and for the sensitive people, just a little bit ahead of that, will be new ways of thinking, trying to wrap our minds around things. It'll be more logical thinking than the feeling that we've been worked with. Now, when Cancer comes up, the feelings will be rushing in, so get your seatbelt on for that. It doesn't have to be bad, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. So all that thinking, and then we still have Mars in Aries, and Aries is that fire sign. So we have earth, wind, and fire. We have fire in Aries. That's impulse and get it done. Just get at it. Earth in the bull. And the air is Gemini. So we've got the air fanning the fire, scorching the ground. So it'll be interesting to see who and how we move through all of this. Surround yourself with creature comforts if you can. Simple things like maybe cooking, if you enjoy cooking, if you enjoy eating, maybe make the food yourself or have some involvement with the butter and the whisk and the bowl. there'll be certain creature comforts. I sat down in a chair with the dogs and let them all come to me, which I do 2 or 3 or 4 times a day, to check for ticks at this time of the year. And they enjoy it. They hate ticks, but they enjoy the one-on-one attention. They all present themselves to me, and most of the time they're in order. They do it in order. It's really cute. I have different breeds. I have McNabs. I have Australian Kelpies. I have Australian Shepherd, a lot of cattle dogs, and Chinese Crested, and quite a few Min Pins. And it's so funny. They all present themselves in their breed order. And it's really interesting how they do it. And I wonder, do they communicate this with each other? Okay, it's Texas's turn now. Cinch has to present herself. It just, I don't know. I think too much, thanks to Gemini. So that one-on-one time, being able to touch them, being able to put my hands on them, being able to look at them, but making that touch not so disruptive, but more loving, to make sure that what they felt through my fingers was a loving touch, reassuring, security, knowing that I've got their bases covered with the ticks, because they know I'm taking the ticks. At first they don't know, they're little squiggly puppies, but year after year after year they become more aware that I'm grooming them. And I do. I've got the brushes there as well as looking, and then the spray, which they hate, to kind of make them tick resistant and aversive. They don't like that spray, but they put up with it to get the grooming. So learning. I've got a puppy. I just got a puppy a couple of weeks ago, and that puppy is learning to be groomed, to sit still while I'm grooming it. And mostly my goal is to enjoy the grooming. I want it to be pleasant. I want human touch to be pleasant. I want my puppies to seek it out. The puppy is only 8 weeks. Her name is Bean. That's what I settled on. I asked for help naming the puppy, and feedback I got from John B was, why don't you call her Bean? You have a decaf, call her Bean. And I asked her, and she liked her name, so she's little Bean Sprout. So with this touch, this tactile sensation, little Bean has lots to learn. I want to teach her to eat from my hand, so I can teach her to lure, so I can teach her to sit, to down, to do a figure 8 through my legs, and they do that by my hands. They follow my hands, and then they get the reward. So it's an interaction. You watch them learning, and this Gemini energy that we have is so perfect for teaching my puppy right now, because learning is and quest for information is the middle name of Gemini, all that mental energy. So I'm taking advantage of that. I got about 23 days of high need to learn, and I am going to make that puppy love toys and love to learn and thirsty for new tricks and new behaviors, new social events, making sure that it's a socialized puppy. So with this energy, I'm going to go with the flow. Now, the beginning of the week, if you are vulnerable in the area of the kidneys, that may be a difficulty. So if you are prone to kidney infection or bladder infection or anything in that area, just know that you'll be a little bit more vulnerable than normal. And if you haven't had that, you may be vulnerable this time. So, be proactive. Some people say that cranberry juice or some of the astringent juices or teas can help to ward off any issues that could happen with the bladder, the ureter, your kidneys, any of your eliminating organs, which is the skin, the liver. Just be kind to them, because there's going to be pressure put on them towards the beginning of the week. Towards the middle to the end of the week, we may experience the vulnerable area is liver, hips, the thighs, the sacrum. So if you have hip issues or lower joint, it may be a little bit more aware of your body parts there. The thighs, the upper part of the thighs, where the connection in the pelvis area, where the hips connect to the pelvis, could be a little crunchy in there, and the sacrum, which is right down there at the very, very, very lower back. That could be an issue as well. So just keep an eye on that. If you don't put pressure on those areas. A lot of people have lower back issues. If you happen to have a back brace or anything of that nature, don't be afraid to. You're not a weenie for using it. Go ahead, use it. Don't be afraid to. Towards the end of the week, the spirituality of Sagittarius and the moon and the optimism may float to the surface. So towards the end of the week, after we do all the thinking and all the musing and what did the chicken or the egg come first, all of that thinking, the optimism and the lack of ability to quit will be offered, and spirituality will be offered to us through the moon in Sagittarius, and a new moon nonetheless in that very spiritual esoteric energy. I am really looking forward to that. That's when you really can take advantage of being in tune with the source and feeling like everything is one and it's going to work out. It's going to work out. Even if the tire's flat, it was flat for a reason. There's something here to learn, something to gain. I love that optimistic energy, and I think we need it right now. I'll be interested to watch the animals to see if they are in that mood as well. The number that was given to us this week is the number 5. And when you combine it with the fire of Aries and the wind firing the flames of Aries in Gemini, number 5 can push us to feel a need for movement, for change. If you travel, you'll be pulled to maybe want to book a trip or just get in the car and go. There'll be a search for freedom when you combine that with Sagittarius towards the end of the week. Sagittarius is the epitome of travel, adventure. Do not hem me in. Do not tie me to a fence. Do not hold me back in any way, shape, or form. So that will really be a need for freedom and adventure. If you've got a motorcycle, jump on it. It'll make us a little bit more open to new things, number 5 combined with this energy. And maybe for some of us, offer us the inclination to leadership. And God knows we need better leaders. We do. That's the truth of it. There are some good ones, I'm absolutely sure. They're just fewer and farther between because politicians are politicians at this time. I don't even want to go down that road. Not going to go down that road. Number 5 combined with this is ambitious. That's great, but also very sensitive. And with that need for movement and that need for change, it's suggesting that we avoid boredom and maybe even routine. Get out of the routine. I've been trying that myself a little bit the beginning of this week. I'm a routine person. My animals are very routine oriented, and it's very disruptive when I don't get to do the routine that I'm used to and that I love and cherish. But I've been trying to break that up a little bit just so I remain flexible. It's a little disconcerting for the dogs, but they're managing. So instead of maybe getting up early before the dogs get up and making my coffee and sitting and reading through interesting information and things that I want to learn and grow with, I've been doing a little different things. So just try different routines. Just try it. If you don't like it, go back to the way you were. But this is the time to try it. This is going to be a little more complicated. When you combine number 5 with where the planets are, especially that Gemini, we may find ourselves becoming impressed by people who are able to convince us in some area of something. So, I mean, anybody that knows me knows I can't stand the politics, the way it's being managed now in the States, when they were all, I don't know, standing up and saying horrible things to each other about their eyelashes. I mean, really, in Congress, you're talking about somebody's false eyelashes, and then they got into this female war. I truly, folks, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the way we treat each other. I'm disappointed in many cases. I mean, I'm seeing some amazing, beautiful people that are going out of their way to help other people. when they don't have to, and it's none of their business, but they're doing it. The care that they have for people they don't even know. I'm clinging to that. I'm trying to swallow that whole, because the other side of that is just so sad. To want to hurt a person's feelings or embarrass a person on purpose, to hurt another person for what? I'm talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene, and others. The woman that shot her dog in the face, a puppy that she never took time to train, and just thought it should magically know all this stuff, and her daughter's dog, and she just shot it in the face, and then killed the goat because it stank. Well, she had a male goat, and they stink so they can attract the female. Oh, I'm breathless. And to brag about it, to think that that's acceptable, and the pain that I could feel, that her daughter felt when she came home and found that the dog that she loved was shot by her mom because it didn't behave. What kind of lessons are we teaching our children? To be strong? That's not strength. I'm sorry. Okay, I went down the rabbit hole. I'm climbing back up. Okay, give me a minute. I got to get over the lip. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. Thank goodness my little min pin jumped in my lap and let me pet him and calm me down. I'm so sorry. Anyway, we're supposed to be optimistic towards the end of this week, and I'm human and I'm feeling the heaviness of the overwhelming things that are going on. The cards reflected that. Now I'm going to move you, so there'll be a little crunchy, crunchy, crunch, and I apologize. So I'm moving you to a different location. There you are. And we're just looking quickly at the cards. What came up is for us to try to remain as compassionate, the Queen of Hearts, as compassionate and loving and understanding as we possibly can, to override some of the nastiness that's out there and vanquish it with love and affection and caring and compassion for each other and ourselves. So the Queen of Hearts was the first card that's pulled. The second and one of the middle cards is Swords. Swords is coming up. The Mind. There's quite a few cards that are the Swords. The 7, the 10, the 8. And I shuffled the beans out of these little cards, so having them almost in sequence is amazing. But that's the universe, isn't it? But it's the mind. So the mind is going to be our target of lessons this week, and will be our Achilles heel as well. Overthinking, too much thinking, feeling overwhelmed, feeling trapped. The Ten of Swords is kind of a scary card because in this reading it's preceded by the Devil, which I never like to see on which means we're fooling ourselves. The devil is a mask. The devil lies to us. We lie to ourselves. We tell ourselves that this is helping when it's not. This is the answer when it's not. We don't want to face the truth, so we accept the lies because it's easier, it's more fun. I say the muffin tastes good, it does, but all the sugar. So it's easy to fool ourselves. And Kathleen Olette's muffins are to die for. They're a special when she comes to share time with me. Actually, she brought a batter and we baked them while we were doing a reading, which was completely novel and wonderful and smelled good and felt good, and it just added the cherry to the top of the muffin, shall we say. So those little acts of kindness, of taking the trouble to do that for another person, to do that with another person, to make a memory of comfort and good smells and good taste, sensory development. That's folks what it's all about, is what we can do for each other and override the devil to take us down that other hole. The Ten of Swords, there's nothing I can do to make that a nice card. It's not. It's about letting go of things that are really painful. Painful to let go and painful to hold on to. So there's almost no winning to it. It's grief. It's having that pain of cherishing something and loving something and enjoying something and having it ripped away from us, and it hurts. So how do we navigate through that? The only way to navigate through that is recognize the pain in it, and then take that and see how can we cultivate that and turn it into something that we focus on, that we love. So when something becomes overwhelming, we have to try to migrate our thoughts to something that's good, and that's what they're trying to get us to do. That's the tool to get us through this week, is focus as much as you can on the muffins that Kathleen brought. Focus on the little dog that recognized I was getting agitated and calmed down, Mom, and jumped in my lap to be, here, pet me, you'll feel better. And little Hobbit was right. I petted him, I stroked him while I was talking to you, and I calmed down. I feel better. So take advantage of the things that make you feel happy, the butterflies, the new growth on the trees, some of the flowers that might be coming up. I saw some absolutely luscious tulips, the beautiful flowers that are at the garden centers right now. Grab a coffee and walk through the garden center. Just take some time to be with nature. I think nature is the healing part of things. So take it and use it to your advantage. That's what it was given to us for. On that note, I've kept you far too long, and I apologize profusely. I promised myself I was only going to do 8 or 9 minutes. I lie to myself constantly, and I can't shut my mouth. I'm sorry. But on that note, I would like to take this mouth's opportunity and thank Charlie O'Brien for all the work he does on our website, www.terriworld.com, where he has taken the podcasts and archived them. So if you've missed any of the last 4 or 5, they're up there on that website that he created. And he's put us on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, Podcasts, SoundCloud, on YouTube, and then he gives me the link and I post it on Facebook. So we can be found anywhere. If you have any digital needs, don't be afraid to get in touch with Charlie as well. He is really good at what he does, and one of those kind and compassionate people that I was talking about. And listen to his radio program. It just the sound of his voice. You know when you hear those voices that just I don't know, it just does something to you? Charlie O'Brien has that kind of voice. So listen to his radio station and take advantage of one of those soothing things to keep yourself calm as well. He does all the Big 8 songs. Just Google him. He's everywhere. Photography, crafts, digital things. He's amazing. And if you need a reading, I'd be happy to help you. Or if you want help training your dog, please get in touch with me. You can call or text 519-726-6699, or you can email me at terri.coutts@gmail.com. I consider it a personal favor. I love working. I absolutely love being busy, and I love working. And when you give me opportunities to work with you, to share parts of your life with your dog or just with you, it's so important to me. And I am so grateful for that opportunity to keep working and keep engaged and keep part of life. I'm so, so grateful. You guys have a wonderful week. Keep your chin up. Keep looking for the silver lining. And hopefully we'll talk next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Insights with Terri Coots. Visit Terri's website at terriworld.com. TERRI world.com.